Yes, sir.
As a small operator, are you this, going to this kind of gap?
We're going to start jumping down those processes, yes. The in-laws out on the coast, they do commercial blueberry production. And we've been talking to Ben and Ruth out there and going, you know, you got to start doing this stuff. It's smart. Yeah, it's going to be paperwork. Maybe for the boutique farm, it may not be a necessity, but I think to cover your ass, I think it is. Having good farm picking practices is important. We have washermen in the house, our staff go in, wash their hands, plug in a washroom and everything, and they can go out and pick in the fields. I think it's a good idea. It just covers your butt.
Is there a minimum size that you would kind of suggest for making a lot of
Hamish, I'm forecasting $10 a pound. Let's say we go $7 a pound. Am I wrong on 8.5 to 10 pounds of plant at maturity?
Some varieties maybe not. It depends what you can get off the plant. If you're harvesting by hand, well, you're gonna get all those berries off that plant.
You're gonna get all of them.
Yeah.
So one of the parents for our variety, Tomichka, which is the oldest one, we got 7 kilos one year, but then it went down to 4 the next. It'll have a heavy load and then it drops a little bit, but it's not like biannual bearing like an apple that you get nothing one year. So I think they'll wave up and down a bit.
So we're going to take an average. You know, we've got Auroras that are going to be coming on stream in 3 or 4 years. It's going to be a bigger berry. So if we take our weight of our Auroras and our Indigo Gems and our Indigo Yums that are producing, we might average about 10 pounds of plant. And if we can average 10 pounds of plant with 1,000 plants an acre and get $8 to $10 a pound, it's pretty simple math to figure out on an acre.
Japan says they average on good bushes 3 kilos, but they haven't been breeding anything. This is just run-of-the-mill average good ones that are not even named varieties. So I think we can do better than that.
Yeah, the best I've got so far is 2 kilograms per plant, but of course there's 40% of the berries are still sitting on the tree because they were quite big enough to.
Yeah, how many pounds did you say you left on the tree this year with your machine picker?
Okay, we took 20,000 pounds off. I bet you it was 60,000 pounds sitting out in the field.
We're hand picking. We don't have that problem yet.
Can you talk more about your harvesting, like the cost of it? You hand pick?
We're hand picking. What we've done with our 650 producing bushes is, Devin, there's a plastic wading pool. We're going to cut it in half, 4-foot plastic wading pool that you buy for $4.98 down at the big box store. We cut that in half. We cut a circle out of the middle so it fits underneath the base of the plant around the stem. We come in and sandwich it from both sides and we tickle our berries.
Yeah.
They're just the right come off. And then
Yeah. It's the tickle method. You just go like that and they all
you're
come.
not damaging anything. And
So what's your cost per bush?
We figured it was about $1 a pound to pick this year, hand picking. We were paying per hour because the Haskap were a bit of a pain in the butt to pick and a little younger.
And Axel, you said you went back over
Oh, we went over the field numerous times until the birds got what we couldn't. I saw a hand back there. John.
I imagine each variety is a little different cost per plant. What would an acre cost for?
If you've got good soil, am I wrong? 1,000 plants, you've got good soil with your plastic mulch, drip tape, planting time, $7,000 an acre is an average?
I would, yeah, that's what I figured. But mind you, in my field, it's 13 passes with a rototiller to get it fluffy enough to put your plastic.
No, I'm just talking the plant cost.
Oh, just talking the plant size or cost?
Plant cost?
Plant cost.
If you're buying from Saskatchewan, we've got shipping. So look at that $6 to $7 a plant mark, depending on the variety. And of course, we want to make sure it comes from a registered grower from wherever, so that this gentleman gets more royalty money.
Well, we have on our website, we list all the authorized.
All the propagators.
We recently expunged the ones that didn't pay us for 2 years. And if they pay us, we'll put them back up. But there's several good propagators here, and
We've got some interested parties in propagating here.
It lists it by province where they're from, but you don't have, they can ship outside the province, so. I always like to say order from at least 2 companies, and then stick with the one you like the best. Even if it's a slightly bigger plant and bigger pot, it may grow a lot faster initially, so it might be worth it.
And Hamish, you sell everything from frozen dormant plugs all the way up to 2 gallons.
To big ones. Yeah, also HASCAP Canada, we've been trying to work on the website a fair bit, and we're putting up maps. So there's a public map and a map for members. So if you become a member of HASCAP Canada, right now we're trying to get people to allow us to put their information on, but it'll come up with a little flag and show, you know, okay, here's somebody that's a propagator that produces plants, here's somebody that has a plant, here's somebody that just makes HASCAP berries, so that it's going to be a lot easier for people to find and to do some marketing themselves.
And seeding plugs is really a great option compared to tissue plugs.
Seeding,
Just
Starting
seeding.
plants with seed.
oh.
Yeah.
I'd go.
The seed, like when we grow our HASCAP, we'll have like 3,000 in the field, and we find 4 that are really good.
Right.
Like, it's so variable from seed, they wouldn't ripen at the same time, and it wouldn't be very good.
Tissue culture or propagation?
Or cuttings.
Cuttings.
Usually when a variety is brand new, the first people to come out are tissue culture, because they can make the plants fast. And then the traditional propagators will be a couple years behind.
It was like 5 years ago. My new green side went up. We went out with the HASCAP and went, hey, hon, what's their soil look like? Yeah, sandy clay. Looks pretty good to me. We put them in. They're performing really well. We haven't yet. We're going to do that this year. Yeah. You know, we haven't had it done. The only companies I found, John, do you know? I think there's one out. Well, Kim knows. Who's doing soil testing?
You can take it into Grower Supply, any of their branches. They do a 2-day mail out to a company in Toronto.
There's one guy in Salt Spring, isn't there?
Yeah,
One in
they
Vancouver.
just found that the guys in Toronto were fast, very efficient, very thorough, and you got a better report back. And they've used their 1,400 orchardists to get a better price. So it's I think last year was $40, and within a work week you had your results back.
In case you folks don't know, this is Kim Kendall. He used to be with Grower Supply down in Kelowna, and he's now with Azomite Canada, which is a mineral supplement that's organically certified. Look up Azomite on the web. Kim, he's a good guy. He knows everybody too. Yes, John.
Maybe, I don't know, Kim, you might know this Okanagan Fertilizer, they used to do soil testing.
Yeah, and also Robson at Purity Feed, the agronomist at Purity Feed in Kamloops. I'm not sure who he uses, but he's got somebody that does it too. I think the Clancy still send it out. They used to use the Griffin Soil Labs in Kelowna. That was the provincial soil lab, and then they privatized, and the guys ran it like they were doing for the government, and they went broke and closed it down.
They were sending it one time to Montana or Wyoming.
Yeah, because Montana also did tissue analysis, leaf analysis, that the guys in Canada don't do yet.
And we've got our Ministry of Ag rep right here. Blaine, you must know.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, why am I missing such an important resource?
I'm just curious about the soil testing. It's one thing to have your soil tested, but does Bob have a recommendation?
Well, that's what our grant for this next 3 years is to help determine. But the Ontario people have started something earlier than that. They did actually a simple experiment where they got free HASCAP plants to growers, and they had to put half the plants on do nothing to the soil in the soil test. The other half, they were allowed to do whatever they wanted. And so this has been going on for 3 years, and they're studying the growth rates and stuff. But it's getting close to the conclusion of that. But we really don't have the recommendation. because it's not related to the rest of the rose family. You can't say this is a relative of apples or blueberries or anything like that. It's a distinct family, which
That's
is probably
tough as nails.
yeah, but we don't really know. So my only concern is that shallow root system is tone down how much fertilizer you're going to put on there. Maybe start out with half of what they tell you to do if it's nitrogen. But if there's other things, maybe you go full strength.
Like 20-20-20, a mild foliar spray works, or you know, don't put much on. But that's what we do in the greenhouse anyway. We mostly are 15, 15, 20, something like that.
And like I said, Japan, they don't do any chemicals that I know. It's always compost, so that's going to be low grade.
Blaine, it looks like you want to get something in?
I'm just wondering about varieties. It seems like there's quite a variability in varieties for agronomic and quality. Is there one place we could find a list of varieties, common varieties, characterizing the traits of those varieties?
Well, on our website, we list all of ours. But there are people that are bringing varieties from other countries and renaming them. And there's no, there's no track record of what they are.
There's what, 7 real HASCAP from the university, plus 2 more Boreal Beauty and Boreal Blizzard.
2 that are coming out.
9 that are really HASCAP, correct.
Well, that are from our program.
Yeah, from the university's program. So there's 9 varieties.
So would a juicing variety be different because of acidity or some other trait than a fresh?
Well, we have stats on some of the more recent varieties of what each of our variety is like in our location. But many places don't mention anything when on the subscriptions on the web. Like, you know, some of they used to not even have they used to have pictures of the same berry.
Yeah.
And sometimes my berry is on there.
Little Precious, wasn't it?
Yeah, Little Precious goes all over the place.
But the HASCAP Canada site has listed varieties of HASCAP from the university. The university site has a listed varieties of HASCAP. So.
But it would really be good to be testing here somewhere to see how they do, you know, yeah, like to have outside that's not connected to me, an outside resource testing. That seems like a logical thing to be involved in.
So did you say you put about 1,000 trees per acre? Is that what you said?
1,000 bushes per acre. Yeah, we've got our rows 10 foot apart, 10 foot on center, and we're planting 3 foot on center with the plants. Yes, sir.
Could you just touch on irrigation requirements again?
Irrigation, we start watering when it looks dry, and we give them about a gallon a week. And we're irrigating, we have water rights on the creek. So we've got a little Honda fire pump, pumps up 1.5 inch line onto 1/2 inch drip with a gallon per hour emitter on each plant. We can do 5 rows at a time with the pressure in that pump. So we're an hour and 20 minutes of watering, they're done. And then we'll do it once a week.
When we establish, that's 1.5 gallons per week, but with the plastic mulch, we can do 1.5 gallons per month, because it'll just keep recycling.
Yeah, the convection moisture comes up, it's plastic, condensates, drops back down. We're planted in landscape fabric.
Okay.
So we haven't even had a chance to show Bob and Hamish our field yet. We flew in last night and we went for dinner, so. Yes?
And labor requirements are like, how long would it take to harvest an acre by hand? In man hours, I guess.
You know, we haven't tracked man hours on how long to harvest by. How long were you out there for, Devin? There were 6 pickers. Doris, myself, Devin, Brenda, and Chris.
We're all there at kind of different times too, so it was kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. We weren't really organized on time-wise. We were so excited to see all these berries, and then we were really excited to see the birds. So we.
Your best guess?
Guess best. Best guess.
Highly motivated pickers. My daughter, 4 pounds an hour off of 3-year-old plants. This old cowboy here, about 3 pounds, until I get tired and sore knees. High school kid with no motivation whatsoever, they're not going to make it.
Yeah, and that's going back to Abel, the Coastal Black Winery out on Vancouver Island. Flies in 30 Mexicans every year.
I think
in the spring and fall.
It makes a big difference if you're picking individual areas and putting them in a container. But if you do the tickle method with part of a kid's swimming pool underneath or a shaking, it changes it a lot different.
Yeah.
We did with our cherries, for example, I used to track them. Those were this big. It took students half an hour to do a bush. And when we did the little shaking them over the tarp, it took 3 minutes per bush. Right? So if you don't mind it dropping, but when you do the tickle, if you do the tickle method, leaves come out with the berries. So then you've got to either put it through a sorting line to blow it out. I've heard of one grower rolling it on some kind of like tarp thing, and the leaves stay up at the top. I've also heard of people using fans to like winnow it.
Well, this is what we did.
You know, so
Yeah. What we did to blow the chaff out, we did the tickle method into the wading pools and into 5-gallon ice cream buckets, or 1-gallon ice cream buckets. And we took a plastic shelving unit, and we found some daffodil crates at a daffodil grower out in Vancouver. Plastic crates. They look like the old plastic Coca-Cola bottle soft drink crates. The spacing in the grate at the bottom was perfect. Unripe berries and skinny berries would drop through. So I hooked the leaf blower up to the wet wand pickup for a shop vac, mounted upside down on the plastic grate, plugged the leaf blower in, poured into the daffodil crate, and did this, and we blew out all the chaff, and our berries were clean. There was no dirt on them, there was nothing on them. We put them into cell pack containers.
I should mention, when I visited Japan, they had all their workers wearing gloves, and they looked like they were cloth gloves, except I didn't see them red, but maybe it was the other ones, but they were selling Fresh Market a bunch, and you do not want a fingerprint going on your berries to Japan, right? But maybe that's true, you know, maybe someone in a farmer's market doesn't want to see a fingerprint on a berry either. So that's something else to consider when hand picking. Of course, if you can shake it, then no hand touches it.
If you're following Canada Gap, you are not allowed to touch them with your bare hands. You have to put on gloves.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but you can also put them into microfiber and roll them around a little bit, and then you open up the one end and pour them out, and they'll come out perfectly clean too. You know, from the smaller bit. A lady I know that I get to come and pick sometimes. She picks a lot of wild blueberries, and they're short bush blueberries in Saskatchewan. She has you know, it's a machine you can buy there, and it, you know, fairly cheap, and it just runs the berries through, and it's got a blower and a little conveyor. It's not like, you know, a couple $100, $300 or something. They're specifically designed for blueberries. It works too.
I was surprised talking to one of the major Saskatoon growers that they don't actually wash their fruit, because if they wash it and then freeze it, it turns into a big solid block. Or they'd have to have like a giant dryer unit. So people, I don't know if that's true for all. Do blueberry people wash their blueberries?
Our, I don't know.
I don't think they do.
They don't.
Yeah, so that's something to consider. You shouldn't be thinking of washing it. And if you have branches that are in the ground, don't pick them up.
Yeah, Canada Gap protocol says that if there's any more than a 5-degree temperature differential between any water that you're using to wash fruit and the fruit, doesn't matter whether it's hotter or colder, it will cause pathogens to suck through it'll actually suck into cantaloupes. Cantaloupes are a really bad thing. So they don't really recommend it. They will, I think some of the blueberry guys use a fume deal, so they're kind of a peroxide, and it's just a little spray coming through, but the Saskatoon, you don't want to make soup. With Haskap is even more tender than blueberries in terms of the skins, or probably as tender as trying to play with.
But you're also not only growing tundra, so
Yeah.
tundra is remarkably different than the other ones.
And our indigo gums would be really tough too. They'd be really
Okay.
good. So.